All right, over Yonder off-road. Here we are. If you don't know what these are, let me introduce Spidertrax wheel spacer kit. We're going to Windrock here in the next week, and I'm not too happy about my tire bulge, or whatever you want to call it, tire poke. So I'm going to add these to my rig, which I have heavily been against for forever because of the stress that they can add to your wheels, hubs, and everything like that. But I've done my research, I've asked around a lot of people, and they swear by these things, so here we are. I have the Spidertrax 1 3/4 inch JL wheel spacer adapter kit. In the box, obviously they come in sets of 2, so you got to get 2 pairs. Here's my other side. This is my box I've already unboxed for you guys, so you can got a nice wheel spacer here. Very lightweight. I was actually very surprised about that. You can tell these are very high quality built. They send you with your lugs for each stud that's going to go on the actual Jeep hub itself, and then your little tube of Loctite. And we are not going to forget to do this because this is vitally important, and making sure you're following your step-by-step little instruction book that they get you, making sure you're torquing everything down and then retorquing them whenever they tell you to. Mine says 50 miles after you first install them, and you drive for 50 miles, take it off, your tire off, and then check your torque again at 120. I'm supposed to pre-torque at 130 and then retorque again at a 50-mile checkup at 120. And if they move at that point, they say to take them, well, not take them off, but go back to step 2, which is torquing them to 130. So then torque them all in order at 130 and then start the process over again. Just to make sure you're not, this thing might shift if you somehow don't do it right, and this thing could somehow move. And then the one of them would come loose, and that's the last thing you want. We got you a handy dandy sticker, which we love that. We'll put that on the back tailgate of the Jeep on the inside. Yeah, let's get going with this. It's a little rainy out here, so we're gonna fight through a little 45-degree drizzle. Just a disclaimer, I'm in no shape or form telling you exactly how to do this. I'm just simply showing you how I'm doing this. So I'm not in charge of your screw up, okay? I'm just gonna show you how I did it. Okay guys, very important part here. It says if you have drums or rotors with retainer clips on these studs, this is the point where you would remove them, because you do not want anything behind the surface of this. You want that to be as flush and as secured and tightly as possible to this rotor or drum right here. So if you have these little insert retaining clips, circular clips on these things, pull those off. It wants to look just like this right here. I didn't have any. We're actually going to see if I can't get a little bit of surface rust off of here too. Clean that up a little bit so we have a perfectly clean flat surface for those to get onto. Okay, now I have simply wiped these down. This being a 20,000 mile vehicle and very well taken care of cleanly wise, I'm not incredibly worried about this, and I can feel it. And by my expertise, there is no difference in level here. You can take a brush and try to brush these out, or like put one of those wire wheels, I guess you could call it, on your drill and get in here, a little small one, clean that up. But I'm not going to. Set this back down on top of here so I don't get anything on it. I can take my handy dandy Loctite, and we're going to Loctite our studs, not your nut, the stud. And you want to put the Loctite down where this nut is going to rest, right? You don't want to put it way out here. What's the point of that? We're going to fit it about where this is going to finish, which will be down there just about. Let's see. Yeah, pretty much very close to the edge. Just worried about using too much of this, honestly. So I got you a little safety tip right there. I heard this stuff gets on your hands and doesn't like to come off, but I'm currently not wearing any gloves. That's pretty smart on my part. Who just peed on me? Okay. I'm gonna go a little bit on the shy side to begin with and see how much I have left, so I don't mess up and put too much of this first tube on the first wheel. I've only got one tube for both spacers, so don't use all of it on one side. And I'm about 3 threads away from the rotor right now. Yeah, I think we got plenty. Be a little more generous. Make sure we get it good and everywhere. So we do not want these getting loose. All right, put a cap back on that. I'll slide these bad boys. Have to be verify they're clean on the back side. Right over. Just like that. Do a thread on. Our first stud. Now it says that these are hub-centric spacers, so they fit snugly to that hub in the dead center right there. And they also have these acorn nuts for you, so make sure, don't pull a dummy, make sure you are putting that slanted side on that stud, because that is how it goes into that cutout inside of this spacer and secures it tighter and aligns it properly. Also, do as I say, not as I do. The instructions say do not use an impact when you're putting these on. Guess what? I'm going to use an impact, but I'm going to turn it down to the very first setting, and I am going to slowly run it in there because we ain't got time for all that. Okay, now we've got our spacer kit installed loosely with the impact. And we're going to take our handy dandy torque wrench. It says to torque to 130. Well, unfortunately, this bad boy only goes up to 125, but it will still tell me when it's at 130. Oops, already back to very easy. The key with these is not to drop kick a bunch of your weight into this. It's to ease into it. If you haven't ever torqued something before, you want to just ease through your motion, because when you get that little jerky motion in there, it can give that a false reading when you're not really there yet. So just ease into that pressure. All right, now let's reinstall our wheel. We struggle with this 37. Okay guys, I gotta show you this before I get done. I'm on my last wheel. As you can see, it's getting a little more beefy. I got something important that I forgot to add in here that I actually realized when I started right there on that last wheel. So, first off, don't forget to go back after you do your initial torque to 130 on all 5. Go back and do them in the exact same order. Just double check to make sure nothing was pinched or angled just wrong. So now whenever you got done over here, maybe this one right here is ready to get about another half a turn out of it. Just double check your torquing before you proceed to the next step. And then the next thing I was wanting to tell you first was this lip right here is a little bit of a booger to get your hub on your wheel to seat right. So just make sure whenever you're pushing your wheel on there, you don't stop until you know that you feel that thing sink onto this hub, because on that one right there I did not, and I wasn't paying attention, and I started to slowly impact it onto my spacer, and I kept on doing that star pattern over and over again. It kept on having my lug nuts turn a good bit. I was like, what is going on? But finally, all of a sudden, it sank itself on there. So I went ahead and pulled the tire back off, made sure I didn't mess up any studs, which I did not, thankfully, and then proceeded to place it back on there. But yeah, you kind of just got to give it the jiggle wiggle special and oomph it on there to get it to sink into this hub right here. It's nice and tight, which you want, so it's good. Good job, Spidertrax. She is, uh-oh, got a little water on you. Yeah, almost. There we go. Okay guys, here we are. I accidentally turned the wheel a little bit and now set it down, but I'm not going to fix it because it's time for me to get going. As you can see, tire poke achieved. We were just barely out of the fenders before we started this excursion, and now we are looking good, nice and wide. Help us get a little more stability on the trails and a little extra protection from leaning on the stuff. Get that tire in the way. Oh yeah, she's beefy. I know it doesn't look good on the naked eye through the camera lens, it never does, but it's got my approval. So we'll see how this goes. I'll try to remember to give you guys a good review after a while and let you know if I feel anything different after we go wheeling in Windrock, and yeah, we'll go from there. Once more, y'all, don't forget to like and subscribe, comment below, let me know what you thought, let me know if you plan on picking some up, let me know if you got any tips, etc., etc. All right guys, see you on the next one on Over Yonder Off-Road.